What's up everybody, it's Zai and I'm back to you with another video. This one is on how to change the background colors of any of your images in Photoshop. So the first one I'm going to show you is probably the easiest one, and it's the first one I learned how to do when I first started swapping out background colors. This one can work for any color, but it works best on white. If you're ever going to swap a background, it's always best to do it on a white background with very clean edges. It just makes the job so much easier. So first what we're going to do is we're not even going to have to cut her out. We're not going to have to cut her out at all. We're just going to make ourselves a new layer here. But we're going to take our paint bucket tool. Pick whatever color you want. Mine is already set on green. And click in the new layer. We're going to go to our blending modes and click multiply. Now when you click multiply, you see she pops right through. It's going to make it super easy to mask this out. So now we're going to create a layer mask. With this layer mask, we're going to use our brush tool. Let's bring that size down. We're going to make sure your opacity is set to 100. We're going to hit our slash key to create our alpha mask, and then we're just going to kind of paint over her. Let me take alpha mask off so you guys can see that as I'm painting over her, I'm just masking out that green layer we just created. Turn alpha mask back on so I can see what I'm doing. Now this is the first way I learned how to swap out background colors. I would say it's a pretty crude way, but it's very, very easy. And it's a very good way to do it if you're trying to just get it done super quick. You just want to put something up on social media. It's not going to get printed. It's going to be viewed on a very small screen. You know, this is a very good way to go ahead and just knock it out super quick. Now, if your subject does have black clothing, that makes it even easier when dealing with the edges. Because when dealing with these edges, you don't want to go off too much, because as you can see, you start to see the white here, and that's not what you want. You have to sell the illusion that your subject was actually shot on the background you shot him on. Now, hair is always a tricky part, but if your subject obviously has dark hair, you can apply the same technique as if they have black clothing. You still want to make sure you get most of that hair. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to set our opacity to 10, make our brush really big. Give it a full feather. Let's make it as big as we can get it. 5,000 pixels. That's what you're going to give me. And we're going to lightly feather around her to make it look like the light source is right behind her. But you can see before and after. And we're gonna go ahead and tackle this right here. This should be white. You wanna make sure you hit any reflections and turn them the appropriate color. And now before and after. Again, it's a very simple way, and this is the very first one that I learned how to do, but it's very effective if you just want to get something done really quickly. Now, the second method, let's get rid of this, would be to cut out our subject. And since we have a solid white background, I don't have to use the pen tool. So I'm just going to use my quick selection tool, actually, and just select the white around her. We're gonna invert that. We're gonna invert that selection so it's just selecting her. We're gonna copy and create a new layer, Control C, Control V, for just her. Now we can take whatever color we want. Now we can take whatever color we want, let's say blue, and drop it in right behind her. Super simple, but downside is you get all this fringing here, right? You get all this fringing along the edges. So we're actually gonna turn that blue layer to multiply. So now it will multiply with the layer underneath it, as so. And we're actually gonna take our layer mask, switch our opacity on our brush to 100. Bring up our brush size, and we're just kind of brush along the edges here. And just blend it in. I'll come back to that in a minute. Sometimes it's good if you do a bigger brush and kind of brush a little further away from your target and let the feather just hit it. Nice and big. Gotta get along these edges here so it blends a little bit better. Go ahead and kind of get in here too. We're actually gonna set this to 10, so opacity to 10. There we go. Taper those edges a little bit. Boom. Perfect. Go ahead and get in here. Good. Good. Let's go ahead and get this side. Have my mask the other way. There we go. Better. Great, right? Now we got our blue. Let's go ahead and knock out this hair. At least do what we can here. The next example, I'll show you how to incorporate the hair with this. Then I'm going to create our vignette again. Remember, 10%. All right, set to black. And then just click around her. Click around your subject. And voila, you have a nice blue background. The third way, go ahead and remove these, is by using the Selective mask. We're going to once again use our quick selection tool. Go ahead and just grab actually, we'll use our pen tool, magic wand tool. We'll use our magic wand tool. I'm going to go in, do a nice rough selection. Good. And then up here, you'll get select and mask. If you don't see it up here, you can always go to select and select and mask, or Alt Control R or Control Option R. Actually, let's go back. You see we missed right in here, so let's click cancel. Let's go ahead and get this. Good. We missed that last time too. So select and mask. There we go. And then just click the invert button to switch the mask to your subject, or you can do it prior with Control Shift I. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna zoom in here. We're gonna increase our brush size. And what you wanna do is you wanna click inside your mask and then brush along the fringe. What this tells Photoshop is that you don't want that fringe. Now, depending on your computer, this process could actually take quite a while. For me, it takes a little bit of time. It takes some time for Photoshop and my computer to recognize what I've done and go ahead and apply those changes. You can see we got a little fringe up here. We can take care of that later. We'll go ahead and continue to go ahead and get this out in her hair. Shoulders too. There's probably just a little bit of fringe there anyway. All right. We've gone ahead and took out all that fringe there. Go ahead and click OK. And as you see, it creates a very, very tight mask for us. From this point, copy, paste, just like we did before. You see it got a little displaced a little bit. And we'll do the same thing we did in the second option. So we'll make that red. Go ahead and dump that in there. But as you can see the difference from this one and the second option, a lot of that fringe is gone. It's a lot less work to do. As you can see, it kind of overdid it a little bit, but we can always go in there and touch that up. So we're gonna turn this to multiply. Go ahead. Finally, and now we can take this little piece out up here. Then we'll go in with our feathered brush. And blend it just a little bit better. That's a little too much. Because as you can see, there's that white that's still there. There and take care of that. Blend that in a little bit better. There. It doesn't take much. Just use a big feathered brush, a little farther away from your selection, and boom. And then you can go in and then just do the vignette again. Number 10%, click a few times, and voila! You have your background change. Before and after. Now here's a little trick. Go to this other photo. Say you want to change this background here. Let's go ahead and merge these together so we have ourselves a nice solid layer to work with. Good. Now see, one issue here is that you may run into is she's wearing a pink dress and we have ourselves a pink backdrop. What if your client or your subject or even you may want this changed? That could be a problem, it could not be a problem. And that depends on how you shoot it. Notice these lines. Notice the highlights. The highlights can act as a separation in Photoshop to tell it, hey, this is something different than this. Let's go ahead and we're gonna do the same thing as step 3. We're gonna make our selection via the magic wand tool. Now, I'm gonna make this deselect here. You wanna really watch out for your tolerance in this type of situation and whether contagious is on or not. Because if it's not on, you see what happens? I clicked up in here and Photoshop will select everything within that particular color range. So we want to have contagious ticked or checked, and we want to make sure our tolerance is fairly low because say you have it at 60. Now you're selecting her dress again. You don't want that. So you want your tolerance fairly low. You're going to kind of click around your subject. Get in here in between the chairs. That can be done later. That can be done. Probably just do a little bit of this. And then we'll go through our select and mask process again. Invert it. Gonna go ahead and take care of all of our fringe here. Now remember, when you're taking care of your fringe, you want to start from inside your subject. Uh-oh, seems like we got a little bit of a problem here. It selected more than we wanted. Let's bring that down. There we go. Let's go ahead and get that back out. The rest of that we can take care of after we make our selection. Now you have to be really careful, especially when dealing with highlights, because Photoshop is gonna see these highlights as fringe, and that's not what you want. So it's like we're gonna have to take care of that after the selection. Let's go ahead and take care of all of this in here. You see, did it even again right here. ahead and take care of all of this. And see, this is gonna be tricky right here. It's gonna be real tricky. See if we got it. Just about got it. That should be good enough. Ooh, and I see how this causes a real problem up in here. See, pink can be a real problem sometimes, especially when dealing with skin. Well, in this case, lighter skinned people. And it's primarily because for a lot of people of lighter skin tones, they tend to take on a lot of reds, pinks, and oranges, primarily pink and orange. So Photoshop can sometimes get a little confused. That'll be a pretty decent selection. Okay. Kind of go in here and detail these crevices a little bit. Let's see what we're looking like. Kind of overshot it a little bit, but we should be fairly good. All right. Yeah, the selection looks really good. So instead of creating a new layer and doing all that other stuff, we're simply just gonna create a hue and saturation layer with the selection that we have, automatically creating a mask for it. And now let's invert our mask. And now we can change it to whatever we want. Now obviously we have to go in and tackle a lot of the highlights and stuff that kind of got caught in the mix that we didn't want to. But this will pretty much be it. And with that hue and saturation layer, we can go ahead and create a clipping mask just so it affects the layer beneath it. We can obviously adjust all of our saturations, our brightness, and however we want to make this happen. Well, everybody, that's the end of this video. I really hope this helped you out. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. I really appreciate it. I always just want to make better videos, more helpful videos. So with that being said, I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.